So today I want to talk to you about the fear of change. It's a very real fear. You think we'd embrace change and love change, but people buy these programs. They buy self-help books, they go on self-help courses, they don't complete them. They buy gym membership and they stop going. And that's all because inside we fear change. Again, we are hardwired to survive. And years ago, what made us survive was keeping everything the same, staying in the walled city, staying in our tribe, eating the same food, hanging out with the same people made us safe. And that's left us with this old remnant that I fear change, because change might be change that makes me worse off. What if I became a millionaire and my kid got kidnapped? What if I won the lottery and all my friends weren't my friends anymore? What if I made so much money that people used me? I married a gold digger and I didn't even realize. What if? So the problem with change is that we fear change in case it makes us worse off. And if you flip that over, when you know that you can control the direction of change in your life and make it change for the better, then you don't fear change. So let me tell you that again. To overcome the fear of change, which is in most people, and it's an old evolutionary hardwire, to get rid of that, you have to be absolutely clear that you are able to direct, influence, and control the direction of change in your life, and always make it change for the better. When you can do that, you stop fearing change. And that's what this program is doing, subtly, not so subtly. It is rewiring you to embrace change, to welcome change, to work for change, and to make all that change for the better. So I want you to take a few minutes now and think about the changes that will happen to you when you become wealthy, when you become abundant, when you attract money and attract more money and have a wealthy state of mind and a wealthy bank balance. Let's do that right now. Consider the changes. Will you move and leave your community behind? You know, I remember going to meet a client of mine who'd become a multi-millionaire. And I'd been to their previous house. It was very small. I went to their big house. And I said, little girl, what do you think of your new house? She went, I hate it. I can't find my mummy. They had a mansion and they had panic rooms put in her bedroom. And she was very unhappy. And they realized very quickly that all this money, and especially the panic room, had really freaked out their children. And so that's a good example of how change isn't quite the change you think you want. Most children don't want to live in a mansion where their parents are in a different wing and they can't even find them. They have lots of staff. They like small little houses where everyone is safe and we're all connected. So I'm going to ask you a question. Think about the change that wealth would have in your life and think about the difference it would make. I often think, I became wealthy when my daughter was older. If it happened when she was younger, I would have seen her less. I was a single mom. I actually didn't have money. And so I had a lot of time with my daughter. I worked from home. She was always there. And when I got wealthy and started to travel, she was much older. But she never liked that because she liked me being at home with her. I remember Donna Summer saying, her little girl said, Mom, can I make a meeting? I want to have a meeting with you, because she thought that's how you got to be with your child. She said, Mummy, don't go and sing for all those people. Just stay at home and sing to me. So sometimes it actually makes sense. We have this belief, if I acquire lots of wealth, I won't see my children. I won't see my spouse. I'll be on the road, staying in hotels. I'll be on planes. Maybe I'll be the boss and people won't like me. People will steal from me. We have all these beliefs of the negative side of attracting wealth. When we focus on the negative, we become blinded to the positive. So I want you to understand that the fear of change is very real. It is absolutely able to block you from pursuing your dreams if you see change as negative. So I want you to go to your workbook right now, and I want you to start to identify what fears do you have about being wealthy. You might go, come on, none, bring it on, I'm ready for it now. I know you think that, but let's dig deeper. Let's go back and have a real look at the fear you have about changing. And to help you, I want you to think of your parents' beliefs about money and your grandparents too. You know, my uncle always thought that people with money were stuck up, snobs, and he didn't like them. And I remember being on a train several years ago. I was in first class because my client paid for that. And as the train stopped at a station, these two guys got on, went into first class and went, oh no, this is where all the posh people are. We don't want to be in here. And they ran out of that carriage as fast as they could. They didn't like it. They thought the people in there were stuck up, snobby, posh, and they wanted to go back to the people in the other carriage that were like them. And that's actually human behavior, to want to go back to what we know, to go, oh, I would never travel first class. Who wants to be with all those stuck-up people who've got their kids in economy and they don't even care? And it's not true, but we console ourselves with these beliefs. I wouldn't want money anyway. You never see your children. You never know who your friends are. People use you. You get ripped off. People see you coming, people steal from you. Then you've got to have all these staff, and then you never have any privacy. We tell ourselves these lies to console ourselves that we don't have money, but your mind doesn't know it's a lie. Your mind thinks that's real. You don't want money because you don't want your kid to have a nanny. You don't want a housekeeper in the house affecting your love life, going through your stuff, knowing secrets about you. So I want you to really take time and think about it. What did your parents say about money? What did your grandparents say about money? What did your community or your church say about money? There's an interesting saying that poor people are more spiritual and that it's good to be poor, but I don't believe that. There's a belief that says you should stay poor to help people. It's like, how? You know, you can give them advice, but if you have money, you can help people more. You can give away stuff when you have money that you just can't do when you're poor. So go to your workbook, write out your grandparents' beliefs, your parents' beliefs. Maybe your teacher had an interesting belief about money that really affected you. Maybe it was your community. Whatever it was, write it out and then go into the tribe. Share those beliefs. Remember, these are not your beliefs. They're someone else's beliefs that were handed to you when you had no ability to say, do you know what, actually I don't agree with that. A 3-year-old can't say, hang on a minute, that's a silly belief, that's unreasonable, that's unrealistic, that cannot possibly apply to every wealthy person in the world. We know that people like Bill Gates do a lot of good with their money. We know that Oprah Winfrey is founding schools and orphanages, and people write to me and go, oh, you have money, you must be cold. I'm like, yeah, I actually fund an orphanage in Zimbabwe because I like it. And I don't need to tell anyone, actually I'm just telling you. But a lot of people you think that have money and don't care do a lot of good work. They just don't need to brag about it, but then they get labeled as this money-grabbing, spiritually bankrupt person. And that isn't necessarily true. And even if it was, doesn't have to be true for you. So go to your workbook, go to your tribe, investigate all these beliefs about money that have made you fear it, all these fears about change that have held you back. And realize that this is not your belief. And just like that luggage of life, that big case that you handed over, imagine you've got a big box, a massive box of fears of change that were handed you, hand it back. Set it on fire, send it to the shredder, and install new beliefs. You're worth it. And if you can influence and direct change in your life so it's change for the better, and do so much good stuff with the money you have, then you can have a lot more money. I'll see you tomorrow, and we're going to cover your abundant mind, how to have a mindset of wealth before you even have the wealth. See you then.